Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Look, do not blow it with your C&P exam. Here's the deal. You have put in so much work finally getting your mind wrapped around the fact that you should file a claim. Maybe you filed an intent. Maybe you had to build up your evidence. Maybe you finally got your claim filed, and then you waited for however many months, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 months, and then you get that notification that you have a C&P exam coming up. Don't blow it. I'm going to talk to you here quickly about a couple ways that people can blow it, actually get themselves not service connected, or get themselves the wrong rating on the lower side. So hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. If you're not a member, consider it. It really helps the channel, and it helps me find you in the comments. All right, so jumping into it. The C&P exam is a very important part of the VA claim process for your disability compensation. C&P stands for compensation and pension. Now, most of us are looking at the compensation side. So with regard to compensation for your disabilities, whatever they may be, whether it's headaches or heartburn or tinnitus ringing in the ear or a motor tic, a twitch in your face or what have you, or severe injuries, with your limbs or what have you, right? So whatever it is, most likely you're going to end up having a C&P exam. Now, in the exam, the doctor's going to be asking you some questions about your condition. Here's the thing. They're not trying to necessarily diagnose you. The whole purpose, or the main purpose, of the C&P examination by the VA for your disability compensation is to figure out how severe your condition is. Because most of the conditions that are rateable by the VA have a scale of ratings. So you could be a 0%, a 10, a 20, a 30. Some of them will skip and be 10, 30, 50. Or they may be 30, 50, 70, 100, right, for mental health. So there's all kinds of different sliding scales. Some will go all the way to 100, some will go, to 50, some will go to 60, some will just be 10%, and that's it. Like tinnitus, ringing in the ear is 10%, that's it. So what they're trying to do is figure out where you fall, right, on the scale of rateability, we'll call it, to assign you a specific disability rating. So there's two things here that I'm going to focus on. One is, the two things is, one, you can actually get yourself not service connected at all by screwing up some of the things that you say. So I will talk about that piece here. And then I'm also going to talk about getting the right rating, right? So getting the appropriate rating can happen in the C&P exam. You're going to hear people talking about how, I got lowballed, I got a low rating, I should have been higher, all of those things. I'm going to tell you how to circumvent that and get the appropriate rating the first time. So one, I'm going to talk about the first one, which is how you can actually not get service connected at all, even though everything's leaning toward you're going to be service connected, right? Because by the time you get a C&P exam, most likely you're going to get service connected for that condition. Most of the time, they've already kind of decided that, and that's why they're putting in this additional effort. But you can still stink it up. So this is important. So I'm going to talk about that. Then I'm going to jump into the how to get the right rating. So how you could stink it up, and I'm going to give you an example here, is if you're loosey-goosey with time frames, and for some reason, let's say that your condition, manifested in, we'll say, I'm trying to do math in my head, whatever. We'll say that it manifested 9.5 years ago, and that was right after you got out of boot camp and you were going to your school, like right when you were starting your school. You started getting whatever, we'll say migraines. You started getting horrible, horrific migraines, right? And you even documented it while you were in, we'll say. So you got migraines. So now they're documented while you're in, and that was 9.5 years ago. But you're loosey-goosey with time frames. And so you never really gave correct dates. You just were kind of loosey with them. Now you're at the C&P exam, and you say to the C&P examiner when they say, so tell me, when did you first start getting your migraines? And you go, I was, 10 years ago. Because, I mean, come on, 9.5, 10, just easy, round. I'm loosey-goosey with it. I'm just kind of, it's close enough. 10 years ago. Or maybe you even say about 10 years ago, but they write down 10 years ago. Guess what just happened? You just told the C&P examiner for the VA for your claimed condition that you're trying to get service connected. You just told them right now that your condition manifested prior to service. In other words, you've had migraines before you joined. Out of your mouth. You said this. Now, the VA examiner, the C&P examiner is not going to go, well, wait a minute, that looks like that's before you joined, and according to the records here, and are you sure? And they're not going to do that. They're just writing stuff down and moving forward. Okay, so they are not spending the time to figure out your time frames and all that stuff. They don't care. They're just asking the questions on the paper, writing it down so they can give it back to the VA, so then the VA can make a determination on your rating. Well, guess what? Now there's a possibility that when the rater at the VA is flipping through your file and flipping through the C&P exam, and they go, well, wait a minute, 10 years ago, he joined 9 years and 10 months ago. Looks like this happened prior to service, so denied, right? Not service connected. This occurred before. I mean, it came out of your mouth. You said it, not me. So don't be loosey-goosey with your time frames, right? Your condition must be service related, and what the VA means by that is, or service connectable, is that it manifested during the time in which you served, or is a presumptive condition, or that it is as a result of your time in service, okay? Which is, a lot of those are presumptives. But the main thing is that everything ties back to your time in service. I entered here, I exited here, here's my time frame, right? So you need to make sure that your dates are in line and your time frames are in line. Take yourself a few minutes, take a knee and think about it and make sure that you're saying the right time frames. And if you have to err a little bit, err on the side that's inside the window, okay? Don't be saying 10 years if you haven't joined at that point, if that's the case. Second piece that I was going to tell you about how you can stink it up and get a lower rating than you should get is going in not prepared. Okay, if you go into the C&P exam not knowing what the schedule of ratings suggests, or not suggests, mandates you be rated for certain ailments, conditions, signs, symptoms, durations for your specific condition, then you need to read the schedule of ratings for your condition. There's multiple what they call books. They're broken down into different sections of your body, right? So musculoskeletal, neurological, and so forth, right? So mental health, right? So they'll have 8 books or something. So you find the book that your condition would be under, then you will click schedule of ratings. Then it will open up a Word document of which you could search for your condition. So if you have migraine headaches, you would click Neurological and you would search migraines and you would find it. And you would see that there's a 10, 30, and 50% ratings opportunities. If you have GERD and you find GERD, then you would see that there's a 10, 30, and 60% rating opportunity. You would read the criteria required for each one of the ratings. And whatever the highest rating is that you meet all the criteria for, then that's what you need to be stating to the C&P examiner. For example, I pulled up, just because I like to use this as the example, GERD. So in order for GERD to be rated at 30%, and I'm going to throw in the example here too, and I did this earlier. So if you have GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, bad heartburn, and you read the 3 ratings, 10, 30, and 60, and you know that you should be at 30%, it states here that you must have recurrent epigastric distress with difficulty swallowing, vomiting, regurgitation, substernal or arm and shoulder pain. Most people, I mean, you're going to have both. Some people feel like they're having a heart attack. Some people, it's just like right in your substernal area, and that it's productive of a considerable impairment of health, which is true, right? Because it's eroding your esophagus and could cause cancer. So if you have all of those things, 30% rating, right? Because you looked at the schedule of ratings for that. Great. Now you can take it with you to the C&P exam and regurgitate that information, right? But if you did not and you weren't sure and now you miss some of those things and you only mention a few, maybe 3 things, now all of a sudden you're at 10%. Big difference between a 10 and a 30 on your road to 100, right? So be prepared, do your homework. It doesn't take that long. Many of the law firms out there will have snippets of the schedule of ratings. So if you just Google searched VA schedule of ratings for X condition, there may be law firms that have that information on their websites as well. You could just scroll down and look for the percentages and what's required. And I would think that they would be up to date just because that's their wheelhouse as well. And you don't need to pay for that. They're just pulling it from the VA's information and throwing it up. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude it. Thanks so much for watching. Don't stink up your C&P exam. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.